Pleased to be joined for the first time, the head football coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. First time here on the new Sentinel Sports Page, Butch Jones, at UT Coach Jones on Twitter. But actually, most of you already know that by now. Hey, Coach Vince Ferrara and John Adams. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm doing great, Vince, John, and thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, well, thanks for doing it. The snow stuff for you, this is nothing for you, right?
Well, it's amazing. You know, we have a couple inches of snow and everything shuts down. This is a everyday occurrence for us. And then, you know, our receiver coach came in from Wisconsin this past year, and shoot, this is a good day for them in Madison.
Butch, you said you're a salesman. Well, this weekend you got all these recruits coming in. You've got the Tennessee showroom floor out there. You've got a lot to sell. You must be very pumped up. Could you give me just a synopsis, a hint of what your group sales pitch might be to these guys?
Well, I think there's a number of things, but I think first of all, I think it's the genuineness, of everything, is being able to walk into a young man's house and sell the University of Tennessee. And we're a national brand. You look at our reputation. You look at what we're selling. You know, we're selling a great education. We're selling people. People make a place, a passionate fan base. You know, where else can you go and have the opportunity to compete in front of 105, 107,000 people? Every Saturday we sell the Southeastern Conference, and we sell us. And, again, people make a place in our vision. And we have a tremendous, in terms of to sell, we have a tremendous deal with tradition and everything. So it's going exceptionally well. But I think the big thing is the genuineness. I think the energy, you know, the chance to come in, new coaching staff, be on the ground floor. We're talking about the new Tennessee, but yet the old Tennessee. And, you're exactly right. This is a big weekend for us. The next couple of weekends are going to be big.
Butch, I know recruiting has been a priority, and I know you're still finding your way with all the newness here as you make this transition. I just wonder how much time you've had to evaluate your returning personnel. And in regard to those evaluations, how competitive do you think you could be with that personnel next season against the good teams on your schedule? And there are a lot of good teams on your schedule.
Well, you know what? Evaluating our current players is an ongoing process right now. And, every time I'm on the airplane going from place to place, I try to, look at our current roster and, looking at past game clips and practice clips and really trying to get a feel for our team. But I really won't be able to judge that until I really see their body of work, from the strength and conditioning room to the academics to, what we start doing spring football. I will tell you this, I'm extremely encouraged by what I see in terms of they're eager and they're willing, but we do have a long way to go, from a mental conditioning standpoint, a toughness standpoint, but I'll a little bit know more about their skill set as we progress on here in the winter months and then into spring football. But I am encouraged by their attitude, their mentality. They've done anything and everything so far that we have asked of them.
Butch, we've seen this kind of evolving in the SEC in recent years. In general, there's been more of a reliability on junior college recruits. We saw it with Tennessee this past season, and this recruiting season, a number of schools are doing that in the conference. I just wonder. I know you've got a commitment from one JUCO player, another's already signed. Are there some other junior college guys on your radar right now? And what is your kind of general philosophy on junior college recruiting?
Well, you may see one or two individuals more from the junior college ranks, but I really, I believe the junior colleges can help your football team, but we're going to develop our players, and I think you win on a consistent basis with developing and recruiting the high school football player. And, so again, everything is how we develop our players, from a mindset to a physicality to an execution standpoint as well. But, we may supplement this recruiting class, but we're going to win with high school football players.
Visiting with Butch Jones, head football coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Vince Ferrara, John Adams. You've developed football players at all your stops, Coach, and I know Eric Fisher is a guy that you recruited that is coming up on a lot of mock drafts for the first round. Talk about him and the other guys that you have been a part of in developing at your different stops for the National Football League and how that helps you now.
Well, you bring up Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher is an offensive lineman that we recruited at Central Michigan, and some say that he may be the first or second tackle taken in the NFL draft. And he was an individual who had to play for us as a true freshman and helped us win a championship as a true freshman, has a great mother and great person. And, again, one of those individuals that's very high in character, work ethic. And, Don Mahoney, our offensive line coach, does a tremendous job developing players at that position. We're still extremely close with Eric. But, I think you look at our stops, you look at Central Michigan, you look at Antonio Brown, who made the Pro Bowl his second year with the Pittsburgh Steelers and was voted team MVP. First time in the history of that storied franchise where a second-year player was voted by his peers team MVP. You look at our draft list last year at the University of Cincinnati. You look at Derek Wolfe, who's now a great teammate of Peyton Manning at the Broncos. But, everything is about, getting individuals that you can develop and that they leave your program, that they're better on the field and off the field because they were part of the structure and the day-to-day process that goes into building champions.
But you talk about developing players a lot. You did that in your introductory media conference as well at UT. Could you elaborate a little bit on what you're talking about when you say the mental conditioning of players?
Well, John, it's about the mental toughness. It's how you perceive things. It's how you react to things. It's that daily grind. It's a toughness, and it is. It's mental conditioning, and it's pushing yourself each and every day to that limit. And when you push yourself to the limit each and every day, that lends itself to getting better and better and better. And I'm just a big believer in that. It's how you perceive things. It's how you react to things. It's how you persevere. It's how you, handle adversity. It's how you attack things. And I think probably the greatest illustration was the bowl game this year with Cincinnati, with that football team being down 16-0. And I have the president of the university at Cincinnati texting me every play and worried, and the athletic director, and I said, these kids will be fine because they've been trained. And, you look at, come from behind victories, you look at closing games out. Those are the things where mental conditioning, mental toughness, your record after halftime, your record leading going into the fourth quarter, all those things. And that takes work, and the mental part of it is so big. And so when you hear me refer to mental conditioning, we call it mental conditioning for success.
Butch, how much of that can you do from February to September when you talk about this mental conditioning? Because I would think it would have to be something that involves a lot of repetition and a lot of consistency on the coaching end.
You know what? You're exactly right. Repetition, consistency, and there'll be good days and there'll be bad days. But I think it's also learning from your adversities, and the ability to persevere. And it really starts in the strength and conditioning area. And we're very fortunate at Tennessee to have what I feel is the best strength and conditioning staff in the country. And so, it stems in the weight room. It stems in how we train. And then obviously when recruiting is over with, we'll do the 6 a.m., what we call standard periods that challenge you. We'll bring in a group of Navy SEALs that have a company right now that we did at Cincinnati that's trained over 500 teams from basketball to football to hockey teams. We'll bring them in for a weekend. And I think, John, it's a consistent message. You have to live toughness every day. And it's a consistent message. It's pointing it out. And I think the other thing is it's consistency and continuity with your staff. Is you win in an organization that everyone speaks the same language, from the equipment staff to the training staff to our secretaries to our coaching staff, everyone that has an influence on our players on a daily basis. We all speak the same language, and that's really big as you grow and you develop your program.
Butch, do you try to recruit mental toughness as well? Is it, and I don't know how easy that would be, to identify a guy, a high school senior, and say that kid is really mentally tough? Is that a characteristic you're trying to discern going through the recruiting process? Absolutely.
That's one of the criteria that we look at, and you're exactly right. It is very difficult at times to really get a good gauge, and then you look at the recruiting restrictions. I only get one off-campus in-person visit, so when I go do a visit to the school and then obviously go into this young man's house, I'm forming opinions. I'm trying to get as much data and research as possible and trying to get a feel for really what makes this individual tick, what makes him work. And so you try to do your due diligence and everything. It's very difficult, but I enjoy that. And you get a pretty good feel from body language to talking with people, and you ask, certain probing questions and see how they respond as well.
Coach, would more face-to-face with recruits, would that help you as coaches do your job if you could connect with these guys face-to-face?
Well, Vince, I believe that, yes. The recruiting structure right now and the recruiting calendar and even just the recruiting process is one of acceleration. Everything's accelerated and, people are making quick decisions and all that, and I do. But also I think, there's a balance, and I think we need to revisit the conversation of an early signing date. You get these young individuals who make commitments, and then, obviously in today's world, a commitment is a reservation. And so I think there's a lot of things as coaches we need to go back and revisit in the structure of the recruiting calendar.
Well, Coach, a huge weekend this weekend, one of several to come. Good luck this weekend, safe travels, and we appreciate your time and look forward to getting you back on here soon.
Well, again, appreciate the opportunity, and thanks again. Have a great weekend, and go Vols.
All right. Thank you, Coach. That is Butch Jones, head football coach of the Tennessee Volunteers.